he is one incredible guy. Everybody thinks you're born and raised in Hialeah, but we know the truth.
Yeah.
You're born in Village Green area, Westwood, Tamiami.
Yes, sir.
Did you play Tamiami Colts? You didn't play football.
I didn't. I played for Westwood Optimists.
Wow. They were yellow. Were they yellow and black?
They had their uniforms looked very similar to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right. The yellow and black. Right.
Yeah.
Did you play baseball out there?
Played baseball at Westwood also.
Wow. And you remember that back when you were young, it was such a competitive Westwood and Tamiami.
Oh, absolutely.
Who you played for, how you did it. It was.
Of course.
I was president of Pop Warner for years, so I know all the rivalries and I know all the troublemakers at Tamiami and Westwood. Dave Westbury didn't coach you, did he?
I don't recall the coach, to be honest with you, but I do remember we would go out there when we had our games. Tamiami would have their games. There was always some sort of friendly rivalry you're talking about,
right?
Because you had a lot of kids that would play, obviously, Tamiami football. And but I do remember, it was a Pittsburgh Steelers style uniform. I want to say we only had one jersey.
We're only talking 47, 8 years ago, right?
Something like that, yeah.
So everybody expects me to talk to Steve Bovo about politics. We're not going to talk about politics. We're going to talk about life. Okay, so you have how many
less
kids?
Stress when you have to not deal about politics.
I know you have less gray hair now.
Amazing. I think I'm actually growing hair now.
Well, when you figure out, tell me. I got the spot. So your oldest son is how old?
Oldest is 28 years old.
And your youngest is
10.
Does he play? What's his favorite activities? Not now, before March.
Well, my youngest has gone through different iterations of what he's wanted to play. Tried to do a little golf for a while, but it seems like the two sports that he's played soccer.
Every kid plays soccer.
Yeah, done cross country.
Hey, you know what the great thing about soccer is? They come home tired.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exhausted. And the two sports that I think that he's kind of like loving is basketball. Loves
and there's
Stephen
a basketball
Curry.
league up there?
There's a basketball league in the North End over at Don Shula's, not comparable to the Tamiami.
No,
Tamiami
but it's a Shula's indoor or outdoor?
Indoor basketball league. Although they put it on hiatus at their gym, at their weight area. I guess.
Who runs it?
The Shula's folks.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah. So they have an indoor court there, and they could run two full courts side by side. But with COVID, they've kind of shut that down now. And then the other sport that he's been taking up, because his older brother plays tennis, he's been now taking up tennis.
And where do you play tennis?
At Shula's also. So Shula's, the country club there has a full-on basketball. They have tennis, and so we take my youngest there, and try to keep him active as much as possible. I try to get out there with him to play a little tennis also.
How many kids do you have living at home?
Right now, too many. Right now, my daughter's down from Florida State. She's at home.
What year is she in?
She's in her second year at Florida State.
And why'd she come home?
COVID, and they went to online classes, and it was just better to have her here. But she'll be going up, I think, the second week of January. She'll be heading back up. My 28 is in transition. He's home again now.
There's a great movie, Rodney Dangerfield.
Mm-hmm.
Back to School.
I remember it.
And what was his speech at the end?
Oh, my goodness.
He looked at the student body and said, "Stay at home. Spend your parents' money. Never move out."
That was a pretty good movie.
I love that movie.
He had that dive. Wasn't it like a diver or something?
Yeah.
He nicknamed it something or other. But, Rodney Dangerfield.
I tried to do that with both my sons. There is no way they wanted me near them on the campus.
Yeah. I don't know if my kids would want me on campus either. But my daughter's back from Florida State, and then I got the 10-year-old, who's my wife and I's retirement plan. We haven't told him yet, but we hope that he's going to take care of us as we get older. So.
Oh, absolutely. He's going to take good care of you.
Yeah, we haven't told him.
He's going to be doing this to you, pushing the wheelchair for you. All right. So what are you doing right now? Just finishing up the commission.
Yeah.
What do you do for a living?
Well, for a long time, it was, the commission was a full-time job. It would kind of occupy, if you're going to do it right, you had to dedicate time to it. But I've always had a business consulting practice, and kind of reinvested myself into that.
Consulting in what issues?
A lot of it, international business, healthcare, telemedicine. I used to do a lot of work for Miami Children's Hospital before it became Nicholas Children's Hospital, and did work for their telemedicine center. And a lot of it was I started working at
No,
Children's Hospital.
telemedicine. When was it?
Telemedicine, well, that's been going on. It's been emerging really over the last couple of years, and telemedicine really hit its stride during COVID-19. A lot of people were hesitant to go to a doctor, and you could literally visit a doctor on your phone, iPad, on your computer at home. The technology is there now that the doctors can examine you, not to the proficiency of having somebody in the same room with you, but they could diagnose you via your telephone.
The COVID has moved telemedicine.
Oh my goodness, absolutely.
I mean,
if you talk to somebody about telemedicine, let's say 7-8 years ago, they would have looked at you and said, well, that's Star Trek type medicine. That's not ready yet. What COVID did was accelerate it. So if you were to go to Miami Children's Hospital, St. Nicholas Children's Hospital, they have an entire telemedicine center where doctors and healthcare professionals could literally go into a cube that is completely blackened out, and they could consult with patients via their phone, via their laptop, or their whatever device they have. And you could take it to an extra level where there could be a doctor. Here's what I did for them. If there was a doctor in Colombia that normally would have a patient that they would have to bring to the United States, now that doctor with the proper telemedicine equipment could literally see a patient and have somebody a specialist at Miami Children's Hospital see that patient at the same time, avoiding the trip, saving cost on insurance and what have you. Telemedicine is here to stay. Telemedicine in every iteration is going to revolutionize medicine over the next couple of years.
We're going to use the one camera because my shirt reflects all over you.
Okay.
The telemedicine, years ago, the radiologist would work from home.
Yeah.
And everybody said, wow, who, what? Now, doctors go work from home.
Oh, yeah.
More patients. People don't have, and it's not perfect, but if you got a scar, you hurt yourself, they can say, go to the hospital. They can look at your throat. They can do all the standard questions and make it quicker, more efficient.
You and I are still, and will always be used to seeing a doctor putting his or her hands on us, right? And that's something that we're going to be used to.
Usually goes like
this. Like to the throat, yeah. What you're going to see a generation to come is that they're going to avoid all that. There'll be telemedicine hubs where you could literally go into a cubicle, close the door, and you'll have the technology, to put the stethoscope to your chest, and there'll be a doctor monitoring you. You'll be able to check your pressure. And
there'll be machines like right now, you go into Walgreens or CVS, do a blood pressure. Now you go into this cubicle. Let's just say it's CVS. This, and this, and they can check everything.
Well, the way it would work is that you'd go before you walk in, you'll slide your credit card, you'll pay the deductible, your insurance information. You'll go into the booth. You'll be completely covered in that booth. Nobody will be able to see you, and they could run an examination. And then when you leave the booth, through ultraviolet light, they'll disinfect the cubicle. Again, like I said, for you and I, that's still a little.
You think I'm your age?
Well, I thought you were a little older, though.
A little bit.
6
years, but who counts?
But so for you and I, that's still a little foreign. But look, there's going to be a generation that's so used to technology and on their phone, that's for them is going to be second hat.
Correct. All right. So we're going to talk about, now we talk about medicine. We talk about your children. Let's talk about your wife. She's the beast of the family. She runs
the rock
everything.
Star. Yeah, she's the rock star.
She's the rock star.
Yeah.
And she works with
Senator Rubio.
There's rumors already he's running for president.
Yeah, politics never ends, right? A lot of people start planning your future for you without you being involved in it.
Take care of some stuff now. I hear it on TV. Who's running for president?
Yeah, look, I think, and I was saying this at an interview recently, if Donald Trump decides to run for president again in 4 years, of which, I don't know why he would want to. He clears the field on the Republican end. That's what I think we have seen on the Republican side of the ledger. The magnitude of his personality and the energy he's generated. So if he decided to run, if he decided literally say, look, I'm going in 4 years,
nobody's going to run against him.
I don't think you're going to have any serious contenders against him. If he decides not to run now, then the field's wide open, because I think the Republican has a deep bench of folks that they could offer up to run. But what my wife does for the senator is that she handles the Western Hemisphere And for
when you
me,
say Western Hemisphere, you mean like Naples?
I wish it was just Naples, but it's all of Central South America, the Caribbean. She travels quite extensively, and
When do you have a happy marriage?
Yeah, I guess. Well, during COVID, nobody's been happy, right? Everybody's here, but I've been blessed. Like I said, she's the rock star. I'd be the the bass player in her band.
So, speaking about presidential, people always ask, why did Trump do this? Why did he lose? To me, who I'm a moderate, it's not his actions; it's what he said. His actions. It's like when like Canada years ago, he put a tariff on them. He said, "We're not doing this anymore." It cost us in the newspaper, all paper and newsprint went up.
Yeah.
But you know what, something? I appreciate that he stood up for us, not for the newspaper, but for the United States.
Yeah.
We have to do that. We had somebody talking about the agreement with Mexico. You have to stand up. We need to be stronger and survive more.
Yeah, look, I think history will judge this president and his 4 years. When you get past all the hyperboil, I think they're going to judge this president on some of the things that actually were accomplished. For the first time, maybe in a long time, we had somebody actually, this is what I'm going to do, and then do it. The moving of the embassy to Jerusalem, we saw the videotapes of president after president saying that it was something to do, never accomplished though. Have we gotten into many trade deals that were one-sided against the United States? Absolutely. I think, look, the Paris Climate Change Accord is a perfect example of it. We all agree climate change is something that we need to address, but is it to the tune of billions of dollars of American tax dollars to foreign countries where, we cut the legs from under us, and now, the incoming President Biden's talking about going right back into that deal. Yeah, it was refreshing to see him put America first. But let's face it, none of us have ever seen the evisceration of a president as we've seen this president. I mean, some of it was self-inflicted, no doubt. His Twitter didn't help him. His way of speaking sometimes didn't help him. But let's face it, we've had a media that has been headhunting him from the day he got inaugurated, and probably it's not going to stop.
That.
Yeah, probably before that, and it ain't going to stop. I think what you're going to see is a president who they're going to be headhunting for him for the next 2 to 3 years.
You mean Trump?
Oh, absolutely. I think if the Senate, heaven forbid, the Senate does not fall in the hands of the Democrats, it'll be open season, I think, on the president, on his family, on anybody associated with
What's interesting, because the Democrats in the know are hoping that the Republicans win, because if it's all Democrat, the Democratic Party will go so far to the left.
Oh my goodness.
Biden won't be in charge. So, but that's national news. Let's talk about local news. I kept reading in that other newspaper, I don't know what it's called, the Miami Herald.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Our mayor couldn't get a hold of Ron DeSantis. Well, all of a sudden, I read or heard Ron DeSantis and Cava are each states giving $10 million, some amount of money to fix Biscayne Bay. So whatever happened, DeSantis took care of it.
Yeah, look, during the campaign, there was a lot of talk about issues that are important to Miami-Dade County. Biscayne Bay is one of them. And as far as I'm concerned, it didn't matter whether you're a Republican or Democrat. These are things that needed to be addressed. The governor had this on his radar. Him and I had discussions long before the election about the importance of making sure that we put the proper investment. It's not just the bay; it's septic tanks that need to be addressed, the tune of $3 to $4 billion. And I think it would be well served by all of us in Miami-Dade County, whether you're Republican or Democrat, that these things get addressed. And look, I'm not one of those folks that spends my time lamenting what had happened in the past. You run through an election, you do the best you possibly can. I hope for our county's sake, that the issues that are important, like septic tank issues and making sure that we have a viable bay are addressed. I hope the transportation issues are addressed in our county. I
like that word. I don't like using the word traffic, because traffic is not the issue. It's the transportation we have a problem with.
Yeah. Transportation is an issue. Some will tell you traffic is a problem, but
traffic is a problem. It's because of bad transportation.
But because of bad transportation. So look, I hope these things get addressed. I kind of watch from afar now of what the Board of County Commission is doing and how they're navigating the issues that are going to be in front of them. And, there are some veterans there that have been through some of the wars already. And I would hope that they address it in a mindset to get things done. Stop talking about things, stop analyzing, stop studying things, and actually make the decisions that are important. I will tell you, there was one decision that was averted, thank God, with the South Corridor. There was already talk about maybe dismantling what had been done, and that would be a critical mistake. $100 million coming from the federal government, $100 million from the state for the South Corridor, plus $100 million from our own transit department. It's a significant investment in the South Corridor. To undo it, I think the board was wise to defer any kind of conversation of turning that bus lane into a viable reversible lane. I think long term, we need substantial transportation, substantial transit.
Well, you're asking somebody who was born and raised in Miami. The transportation traffic problem in South Dade was caused by Hurricane Andrew, and they knocked the base down. That's 5,000 or 10,000 jobs.
Ooh, easily.
And then Homestead is less expensive to build. Let's get $500 million and build infrastructure down in Homestead, South Dade, and then people won't travel. Or get the military, and this is, I'm not sure exact words, to open up, at least have cargo go in there. That's more jobs. Amazon has 300 jobs. We need like 15,000 jobs in South Dade somehow, some way. People don't come up here.
Yeah, look, and during the campaign, there was a lot of conversation of how do you activate that base and be sensitive to the environmental concerns that are always very strong voices. Look, at the end of the day, and I'm not going to change my tune despite the results of an election. We felt that we ran a very credible campaign. We felt that we addressed some very significant issues. We have solutions that are, I think, level-headed, common sense solutions to opening up our businesses, to create rating systems, to address the issues of transportation. Notwithstanding those issues, the fundamental responsibility that the mayor has is not only to keep its residents safe, but make sure that you're delivering on the services that they aspire to. My concern continues to be, it didn't change because of like I said, the outcome of the election. My concern is that if we go more and more into the social service realm of our budget, we're going to feel it long term. The mayor is going to have a problem coming up where they're going to have to make budget, and they're going to have to make budget in a construct where we've lost money. The economy has been savaged due to COVID-19 and the reaction of government. And I think what's going to end up happening is that they're going to have that come to Jesus moment. Do you cut services or do you raise taxes? You can't do both. You can't do both as far as I'm concerned. And that's going to be where the measure of the commission really is going to come into fruition. And let's not forget, the commission did something that I thought was extremely wise, and I congratulated some of the players immediately, which was to hire Jennifer Moon to work for the Board of County Commission. She no longer works for the administration. She's working for the board. And
she answers directly to her 13 bosses.
But more importantly, this is the person who knows where everything is buried. She's got the key to every budget. This is the budget guru of the county.
How many people voted for you? Number.
491,000.
Okay, almost 500,000.
Yeah.
So your message is clear.
Yeah.
Whether you lost or not, 500,000 people, give or take.
Yep.
Believe in your mission statement.
Yeah.
Okay. So the mayor, she knows that. She's got 500,000 people that believe what you said. So she is moving a little to the middle from her agenda. So
yeah, sure.
Your message was clear. Maybe at the time she disagreed, but she realized there's 500,000 people that believe in your mission statement, and some of the things that you believed in are going to get done. And it's not your mission statement. It's 500,000 residents of Dade County. That was their mission statement. So
yeah,
hats off to you, because it's going to happen. Those things.
Yeah, Grant. Look, and I'll tell you, and anybody that knows me, I'm like I said, I don't invest a lot of time in what happened in the past. I got to move forward in life.
Before you know, you're going to catch up to my age.
Yeah. No, and look, you wake up the following day, the sun comes up, and your kid has issues that you need to deal with. All your kids.
Dad, can you tie my shoe? Take
exactly.
Me to basketball.
So to me, it's life continues. I will tell you as a takeaway, And I said to you earlier, we ran a very credible campaign. We felt a lot of energy out on the street. COVID-19 helped and hurt us at the same time. There was a lot of people voting in the privacy of their own home that had zero enthusiasm, but their vote was as valid as the person that was actually going to vote live. And that's just a reality of it. And, I hope people stay engaged. I hope that same energy that people showed during the election, that they hold the commission, hold the mayor accountable so that we could get the things that we feel are important done.
Not just the mayor. Elected people that vote and residents hold each commissioner
absolutely
and the mayor responsible, not just the mayor, everybody. So I know you didn't read it, but maybe you did. I wrote a story about policing by numbers.
Yep.
Over 800,000 911s. I broke it down. I'll send it to you.
Please.
See, the mistake you make, the only mistake you made, you don't read community newspapers newsletter every day.
I should read it more
Did
often.
you get it?
Yeah.
Okay. It talked about the numbers about the police department. I could be off like 800,000 plus calls a year. That's 78 an hour. How many gunshots there were, how many dead people there were. And we have to break it down because, the police are doing the best they can. But when you look at the numbers, it's unbelievable what a great job they're doing.
Yeah.
So, I'm a big believer in the police department. There's mistakes. There's bad cops. There's bad politicians. There's bad everything. So the police department across the country is doing them. And when I think about it, they're getting so underpaid. It's so dangerous. They can be shot.
My goodness.
Yesterday, I saw some cops just sitting, checking a traffic ticket and got shot at.
Yeah,
so
look,
dangerous.
During our campaign, one of the cornerstones was the support of the police department, and we enjoyed the support of the PBA and the FOP, and we were very, happy with their endorsement and support. The entire conversation really gyrated around the ludicrous of defunding the police, which hasn't gone away. I mean, you could morph it into different conversations. I was recently watching de Blasio make some comments in New York, and he's using trip words that, as far as I'm concerned, are akin to defunding, redistribution of wealth. These are for people that grew up in my neck of the woods. This is the same kind of talk you hear out of communist countries, okay? And I know people on the left hate to hear this conversation about socialism and communism. Folks, it's smacking you right in the face, It's smacking you right in the face. I mean, when you start talking about fixing society's issues by taking money away from people and giving it to others, or reinventing your police department, here's a chuckle for you. One of the proponents of defunding police in Seattle was recently calling 911 because he needed help. I mean, this is talk that, again, is taking us in a path that I don't think we want to go down. And you see AOC. I just saw a recent statistic on this federal bill with all the funding that they put in there. I don't know if you know or not. They're sending money to foreign governments to the tune of more money to foreign governments than they are giving to individuals. I mean, I could understand if you wanted to give individuals in this country money to get over the holidays during COVID, but why are we sending money to Cambodia? I mean, out of this plan for
send it to Overtown, send it to Florida
City,
send it to the suburbs of Chicago.
How crazy is that? I mean,
the police need our support. In Miami, when all these issues are happening across the country,
the
major cities, very little happened here.
Yeah.
Why, I have my belief. Let's hear what your belief was.
Well, I think it's the reason you didn't see a lot of incidents here is a couple of things. One, our police department has been engaged in our community now for years. This concept of community policing is not brand new. It's been going on for a while. Our directors of police department and also the city of Miami have been embedded in our community, talking to the different community leaders, and then that starts paying off dividends, because what we've seen in many other communities is anarchists that are not even from those communities getting involved, and they identified that quickly in here in Miami-Dade County. Yet you still had police cars being vandalized and burned. There were still elements that were trying to take over the city of Miami Police Department's building. That's what they were trying to do when that confrontation hit. So look, we were the benefactors of what I believe has been very involved policing by our police department. But make no mistake about it, there were still elements trying to hijack what was a great opportunity for conversation on racial inequality that I think we lost. We lost because extremes took over it.
Across the country.
Absolutely.
Part of it is, people say, well, it was a Republican mayor. Well, people didn't realize this is across the country. Yes, Jimenez was Republican.
Yeah.
But they're a nonpartisan race as a mayor. I think part of it is Miami's a melting pot compared to everybody else. And I think that, we've been here a long time. And I think that in the past, everybody was working together. And I think it's more of it just seems, I go to other cities, it's divided.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think we're that divided. Our commission's not Miami-Dade County Commission. City Miami.
Well,
now
I'll tell you something. If you look at a political map and if you were do like a heat sensor on where votes were going,
right,
the eastern end of the county is much different than the west end of the county. I mean, the numbers don't lie. West of US 1, that's where my voter was. East of US 1 is where the voter for Cabo were. And it shows a stark difference between two ends of our county. Literally, go all the way up and down, up to the north end of the county. Everything northwest in our county was voting for me all the way down through Kendall. And then everything east was voting for.
You tell me, because you live on the other side of the tracks, they voted for you?
Yeah, I guess you could say that, right?
Well, that was back in the 60s.
Yeah.
You lived on the other side of the tracks.
Yeah. It's just a stark difference within your county. But chances are, you go all over the nation, you'll see the same thing. Rural areas are voting one way, urban centers another way.
All right, let's talk about more interesting things. Miami Heat.
I'm looking forward to the season.
I am. Right? Do you follow them?
I'm a Heat follower from the very beginning, from the days of Ronnie Cycles.
Did you have good seats? No.
No. I'm a nosebleed section guy.
I have a few friends who have great seats. I tell them, when you don't go, I'll take them.
Yeah.
But he sells them. I said, no, I don't want to buy them. When you can't sell them to anybody, I'll take them. Yeah, it's gonna be an exciting season with the Heat.
Yeah, I've been blessed to have friends that have good seats, and on occasion we get seats. When my son wants to go to Heat games, that's pretty expensive. So I gotta find bargains and try to sit upstairs. Although I guess they're gonna limit the amount of fans going to games now. But I've been a Heat fan since its inception. I remember, the Ronnie Cycles. Here's a Heat player many people may not remember. I'll throw a couple of names out there. Pearl Washington played for the Heat a little bit. He used to come out of Syracuse. I was a big Syracuse fan in the 80s. Big East
Where'd you go?
Basketball
you didn't go to college in New York.
No, but I had a cousin that lived in Syracuse, and I became a Syracuse fan.
Cuban?
I'm
in Syracuse?
Cuban in Syracuse, believe it or not.
Holy cow! Did he have to carry papers or something?
I don't know what he did.
How did he get away with it?
Yeah, he embraced
and
Syracuse.
they didn't think he was
life.
Cuban. You know what they said? Oh, you must be Mexican.
No, actually, yeah, they did. They said that to him when he was up there. He worked at a steel mill, and then the steel mill closed. I saw the impact of these big companies in these small towns. Steel mill closed. There was nothing to do in Syracuse. I mean, when they left, the place went to pot. They just destroyed it. But I became a Syracuse fan. So ironically, the Miami Heat in its early days had Ronnie Cycles, Syracuse basketball player, Pearl Washington, and Sherman Douglas. Later on, they had Billy Owens, another Syracuse player. All played in those early incarnations of the Miami Heat. Everything changed though when Pat Riley came here. I mean, the culture completely changed for the Heat. Absolutely.
All right.
Love this team.
You follow the Hurricanes football?
Yeah, sure.
We have Brett Romberg has a talk show.
Nice.
Monday through Friday here, and it's filmed here. Goes to our Facebook, and it goes live on what radio show?
Onside Radio.
Onside. That's on Moscow. Not Moscow. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
They have a soccer thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Brett Romberg might be the smartest. He speaks 3 languages, by the way.
He married a Cuban, no?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so that's one of the languages, Cuban.
Yeah.
English, Cuban, and French. And
He's Canadian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he speaks French. So what do you think about the Canes? What do you think about Manny Diaz?
Look, I think it's a work in progress. They turned the program around. It was bloody what happened against North Carolina. I mean, I've never seen a Hurricane defense that was unable to stop anybody from running. But look, under the circumstances, great season. They're still when they played Clemson, you still see the divide. Okay.
Oh yeah, men against children.
Yeah, it's still there. Clemson is the standard bearer for the ACC. Alabama probably for the entire college football ranks.
That was a great football game, Alabama and Florida.
It was, and Florida, kept punching away. They just couldn't stop Alabama, right? I don't know who could stop Alabama at this point. They're just, I hate their coach, but he's a great coach.
Well, think about it. The AD at FIU.
Yeah.
I've got his name. I'll remember in a second. When he fired Mayor Cristobal.
Yeah. It'll come to me too.
Okay, you'll remember in a second.
Yes.
So he fires him. He goes to be assistant coach at Alabama, making more money than he was at FIU.
As an assistant, yeah.
And Mayor Cristobal is now in Oregon, one of the top Cuban coach, I think the only Cuban head coach.
Other than Manny Diaz. So he just got an extension at Oregon.
But Auburn has thrown so much money at him to break the contract. I hear it's up like $10 million, something ridiculous. His offensive line coach played football with him at Columbus. I love that they stayed together. So
who's his O-line coach? I wonder who's his O-line coach.
Google it. He weighs about 140 pounds.
No kidding. Yeah.
And he lives in his parents live in Westchester. So whenever he's in Miami,
nice.
He's at Arbiters.
Nice.
All right. So Dolphins.
Arbiters. I used to skip 10th grade, first period in 10th grade at Southwest, right, and go over to Arbiters to have hot dogs.
When you go there, there's a Grant Miller hot dog.
No way.
Yeah. So when you go there, you say, I want a Grant Miller hot dog and put it on its tab. I'll buy it. That's the only way they're going to sell it.
What's in it? What's in a Grant Miller hot dog?
I don't know. A lot of good stuff.
Good stuff.
Okay. Cool. Dolphins.
Great season.
Who's your favorite player?
I think I like Tua. Obviously, Tua's I think the go-to guy for everybody. But Javante Parker is my favorite Dolphin. I mean, that guy is, and I don't think he's even hit his full potential yet as wide receiver. But everything near him, he seems to catch. So
it's exciting because the Dolphins, they got all these backup wide receivers, all these backup running backs. This coach is the real deal. He doesn't let anybody get praised too much.
Yeah.
Tua played. No, the team played good.
Yeah.
And he said, the team played good. I like his.
Granted, it looks like all about culture. When you look at the professional ranks, you got to think every guy playing in a pro team, basketball, football, or baseball, or soccer, hockey, they're all great athletes, right? What makes the difference between that team that wins and loses? And I think it's culture, right? And I think what Flores has done with this team is created a culture that seems that everybody's bought into it, right? So you'd be hard pressed to name players on the team. They've got an akin to a no-name defense, basically, and they give up yards, but they don't give up scores, right?
Right.
I remember as a kid,
bend, but they don't break.
Right. I remember as a kid, the Dolphins were like that. You know,
those are great days.
Oh my goodness! Between the 20 and 20, you can move the ball on the Dolphins, but you were not going to get a score. And that's what the Dolphins I grew up with, right? Larry Zonka and
the Orange Bowl. Was that the best? It was a dump. It was my dump.
Yeah. There's a whole generation of Dolphin fans that are never going to quite understand what it was to go into the closed end of the OB. Same thing. The Hurricanes used to benefit from that closed end of the OB, right?
Hey, Formula One. It's coming.
It's coming. Miami Gardens voters punished me big time for voting for it, but I still think it's great for our county.
I just want to clear. They voted. Those people didn't vote for you, but there's a huge benefit.
I think so.
Airbnbs, they're going to have more food at those restaurants. It's going to be packed. Mayor Gilbert, who's now a commissioner, he's all for it. Maybe at the time he wasn't, but he's all for it now.
Look, my message to the Dolphins, and I had a chance to talk to Garfinkel at one time. Who would have thought a kid from Village Green's talking to the GM of the Miami Dolphins?
Right, president.
Or president, and talk about football with him. But one of the things I told him, and I think it would benefit the Dolphins greatly, and really the entire organization. Make sure that the economic opportunities are touching the folks in Miami Gardens. Whatever you're doing. Make sure there's a vendor that could participate. Make sure that there's that money spills out into the community, and then they'll embrace it even more.
Correct. Our model here is buy local, shop local.
Absolutely.
Grown here, buy here. Even though we have a greater Miami Convention Bureau that everybody funds, we need maybe to change that. And I'm going to get back to because the number one engine now is from Homestead, South Dade, agriculture.
Oh, yeah.
And tree growths. Walmart and those big stores, they're buying all from Homestead. So the number one engine is there, not on the cruise lines. Yes, it helps hotels, but that's the number one industry. But Super Bowl I was lucky to be selected to help pick restaurants and vendors. So, there's 40 people testing the food. So they had all these vendors come, and this is my ware. It's just, I must have gained 15 pounds that one day because you got to test it. But one of their issues is, are you local? Are you this? Are you that? Where's your business? How many employees you have?
Yeah.
So when the Formula One, I think that whoever there, they need to do the same thing, because I'd rather have a local schmo who's local and keeps that money in our community than a chain come in.
Agreed. And I, for a long time, and
you want me to call Steve Ross for you?
Can you make that happen?
Yeah.
Can you make that? I just think that for a long time we would have the benefits of a Super Bowl here, but a lot of our community was left out, and that's not right. And it should be a celebration about our community as much as the game. I know that we got the national championship this year, right?
Yeah, but nobody can come.
It's just going to be a kind of weird thing.
And I don't know if we're going to get Super Bowls, because the Raider Stadium is unbelievable. The LA Stadium is unbelievable.
That LA Stadium, from what I could see, the visuals of it is just breathtaking. My goodness.
Yeah, I want to fly out just to see it. Okay.
And I guess the Rams and the Chargers are playing in that stadium, right? Wow.
It's like the Clippers and the Lakers.
And the Lakers, yeah.
All right. Hialeah, there's rumors that you may run for Hialeah mayor. And when is that election?
So the mayor's termed out in 2021 in the city of Hialeah, and obviously I'm very fond of the city, and my roots are there, political roots are there, and we'll look at it, but
it's a long way away.
Yeah, we'll maybe January, February we'll have some conversations about that. Make more public statements about it. But right now, I'm gonna get through the holidays. Want to get 2020 in the books. I mean, it's been a great and bad year for many aspects. Those have been affected by COVID. Their families have
their numbers must be really high in Hialeah.
Yeah, they have been,
because they're the working group and they cannot not work.
And it's some of the rules that they want to institute as far as curfew and family gatherings just don't fly in Hialeah. We're going to be violating a lot of those rules on the 24th. We're going to have a family gathering, and that's just what we do. And I've got a huge family. As much as we want everybody to get tested.
How many people coming? I don't want to know how many people. How many people showed up?
Oh, 50, 60 people.
Your address is? No, just to let you know.
By the way, we'll be doing pork, turkey, salmon, and ham this year.
Okay. And food. I know where you live because you live across the street from my favorite mayor.
Do I?
Don't you live down the street from my favorite mayor?
Is he your favorite mayor? Okay, well, we'll have to talk offline. I do live, catty corner from the former mayor. Yeah.
Okay, so in the 80s, we had a paper in Hialeah. This is before your time. Were you born yet? Were you in politics? No.
I was actually started politics around 87.
So early 80s, we had a paper, Hialeah News. We're the only English newspaper in Hialeah. So we met the legal requirements to get the legal notices in Hialeah.
Yeah.
The place was going crazy because the law says your newspaper has to be 85% in English.
Mm-hmm.
So we had those from Deloach. Was his name?
Dan Deloach. Oh my goodness, that's a name from the past.
Right.
Yeah.
So we got these legal notices. I'm telling you, I learned politics real quick because I got beaten up, tormented every time I went to City Hall, and I had to do deliveries in Hialeah because they're watching it. It's like another world. So I woke up to Hialeah politics. But after a while, we go, it's not worth having a paper in Hialeah. And you have the laws are different. People don't realize. And the legal notices, there's a question coming up from the commission about legal notices.
Yeah.
Community newspapers don't get legal notices for the county. The only people that get them are the Daily Business Review.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest ripoff in the counties. Nothing against Daily Business Review, but their circulation 6,000. The county commission could change that. So when you run ads in the Herald, that's a courtesy ad. So now you have to pay more. When you run in Miami Times, I don't talk about regular ads. I'm talking about courtesy legal notices.
Right.
So you run them in Miami Times, because in the heyday, that was the only black newspaper. Diario de las Americas.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And then, so Miami Herald, Diario, and Miami Times. And the only ones that counted were the Daily Business Review. So, and then you guys, like the county wants to take that away. And I don't blame them. You should take them away from the Review. But changing the way you post notices around the neighborhood. It is to be a developer's dream.
Oh my goodness, absolutely.
Guess what? Nobody's here to protest. Of course, they don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
So I don't know all the specifics about it. I'm going to write a column about it. Like, I'm going to be a developer.
I wonder, Grant, and this is a product of people are getting educated differently, right, than they were in the past. I mean, people are changing the way they get their news, changing the way they're filtering or processing their news. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all these are all different venues now. And I just wonder, again, we were talking earlier about telemedicine and how that's going to change the divide. I think we're in the midst of that now in our news.
Correct.
Miami Herald's going to go away at some point. I don't think, to me right now, the Miami Herald has become really they try to set the bar on what should be reported, and then other people kind of copycat it. But what's the subscription level down to? 10,000, 15,000?
It's very little, but the bar has changed, but the market's changed.
Yeah, sure.
New York, cities that have subways, it's easier. You sell a paper because they're going to read on the subway the hour trip. It's a little different now, but the county has to do a lot of things to make people aware of. Let's use Coral Gables, for example. They want to rezone the parking and Miracle Mile. Not rezone the height. They want to change the parking rules that you don't have to park there. You have to park a couple blocks away. They want to go. You can go 7 stories, but you need parking. So they had 28 meetings. Zoom, not real. Who knew?
Yeah.
The people went crazy because they really weren't notified. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I have a newspaper in Coral Gables, didn't know about it. So they hit it pretty good.
Yeah.
So the people complained. So we got one more meeting, a real public hearing. So I think that cities and counties have to do a better job in communicating, not the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge, no doubt. My son serves on the city council in Hialeah, and I know there's a lot of things going on there in Hialeah, a lot of more development. People are trying to migrate to the city, and they just don't have the stock. And always notification is a problem. And like I said, we're morphing into different ways of communicating.
And how does Hialeah communicate?
Well, they do the traditional things. They post in newspapers of which nobody's reading, to be perfectly honest with you.
Legally, they have to be in
whatever the legal requirement is for the city.
And the reason is the daily. I'll tell you a story about Daily Business Review, but it doesn't meet doesn't help the citizens.
Of course not. Of course not.
So,
do they post on their website? I'm curious. I don't know.
I don't know
if the city does that, or if the county even did that.
Yeah, and they post on your, you post on your website doesn't help. You got to do it everywhere to get people to be totally transparent. Just in the 80s, we won the tax lien.
Mm-hmm.
That big section, the tax liens that the county puts out each year. So we won the bid. This is early 80s. I go, that's the house I'm going to buy. I'm going to have this. It was so much money. The profit was $200,000, like in 1980.
Oh, wow.
82. The profit.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't have to touch the thing. It's all computerized. So it ends up, the Daily Business Review was mad. They sued. It's friend of the court. They hired the top Democratic attorneys in the country who are a big fundraiser. The judge happened to be Democrat, whose wife happens to be an elected Democrat. So we ended up losing. But point of it is, it's big money.
Sure.
And each city needs to do a better job. So who's on the council now in Hialeah?
Well, Oscar de la Rosa, which is my stepson, my oldest, is on the city council. Jesus Tundidor, which is now, if I'm not mistaken, is the president, right? He's the president of the city council. Monica Perez, Catherine Q, she'll be term limited out. Paul Hernandez is on the board. These are all new faces. Carl Zogby used to be the spokesperson for the police department. He's serving on the board of the city council. I'm sure I'm missing something.
One of the women,
Jackie Garcia, yeah.
One of the women are the sister of the town manager of Cutler Bay.
Okay, she used to be. They were cousins. Vivian Casals.
She was at your fundraiser in Hialeah, that restaurant. Yeah. I mean, I don't remember the restaurant. Yeah, it was just. I mean, there was 400 people in the seats, 50.
Yeah.
And everybody was there early, got fed. They weren't getting up.
Yeah, they were not going to get up. So Vivian Casals is one of the folks that has been talking about running for mayor of the city of Hialeah. She's a friend. She's been a friend for a long, long time, and I know her cousins. I grew up with her cousins back in the day of Village Green. So we'll see. I mean, Hialeah has its nuances and its particular vibe in the city of Hialeah. One thing about Hialeah though is that it's getting younger, and we're seeing a lot of that. We're seeing more of an influx of young people.
That's exciting.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But it also puts pressure on the city to try to to support development that will allow young people to stay in the city. One of the things that Hialeah has always suffered is capital flight, where a lot of young people leave Pembroke Pines, Miami Lakes. They leave Hialeah for lack of, restaurants, entertainment.
Well, the reputation in the past was blue collar.
Yeah.
And, part of the image of Hialeah needs to work is it's not blue collar. One of the biggest businesses in the country are from Hialeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Some of the, there's a refrigerating company. I forgot.
Big time. There's a lot of manufacturing in Hialeah
that are number one in the country.
Yeah.
And I think people don't realize how important Hialeah is to Dade County. It used to be just a working group. No, these are the people that make a difference in the country.
Sure. Starting to see more breweries in Hialeah. There's a kind of like a Wynwood style vibe going on in the east end of the city. They call it the Leah district. And you're starting to see, a different kind of vibe coming.
Great.
Yeah.
People want that.
And usually and I tell folks, because they'll ask me, well, why doesn't government do something? It's not government's job to do these things. It's government's job to kind of like stay out of the way, create perhaps the incentive, and don't punish those that want to try to be a little creative. That's what they did in Wynwood. It was really done by private sector.
And now people are complaining that some of these people bought all the land. Well,
yeah,
they bought it.
Yeah.
And somebody got a good price and moved on. All right, time's rolling. I don't know who Juan is, but he must be a big fan of yours.
Can't see for a while.
Whoever, doesn't matter. I asked some questions, but I'd love to have you come like every 2 or 3 weeks.
I'd love to.
And talk about the sports. We talk about the Dolphins. We talk, anything about baseball?
Absolutely. Come on.
Oh, now you got to tell. Oh, because I'm Cuban, I know baseball. What is that?
You remember that? What was it on Saturday Night Live? Baseball has been very good to me.
Juan Hernandez.
Was that? Yeah,
the pitcher, right? Tommy? Yeah, he won the World Series. Okay, let's talk about Marlins. Everybody was frying the Marlins. They're not going to do this. They did terrible. How about them?
Well, short season.
Doesn't matter.
Right? Short season. It helps. There's one thing that's standard in baseball. You're going to lose 50 games. You're going to win 50 games. It's what you do with the balance of the rest of the games that'll determine whether you're going to be a contender or not. Culture. We talked about culture.
Derek
Jeter's trying to set a culture that, we saw with the Yankees. Culture. And the successful franchises go about setting that culture. Players buy into it. And I think, look, the one thing about South Florida is that we love our winners, right? And,
we sure do.
And as soon as the Marlins start winning, people will start going, that's a beautiful stadium, outstanding. We own it, so you better like it. But it's a great stadium. And I think the Marlins, they were set back. I'm trying to remember the pitcher that died in the boating accident. Remember?
Javier Fernandez.
No. Was it Alex Fernandez, maybe?
No. Alex Fernandez played a pace.
Yeah.
And then he went to
kids and his kids went to school with my kid, too. Anyways, Jose Fernandez. I'm sorry. Sorry, Alex. Sorry. Jose Fernandez, I think that his death set the franchise back a little bit because
emotionally.
Here was a guy that they're going to build a cornerstone around, and he was exciting. And people wanted to go see him pitch, right, and see him play.
Because he was homegrown.
Yeah, and then life cut short for him. But look, I think the sky's the limit for the Marlins. I like what they're doing with Jeter. I like he's trying to set a foundation and build the right way. They're going to start winning. When they start winning, we're going to start going.
Last question. So next couple of weeks you'll come back?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. You have a state champion, Hialeah, every year in football. That little Catholic school.
Champagnat.
When I say little,
it's this big.
And they keep winning state championship. And this coach is unbelievable. What's his name? He was on the show last week. Yeah. He is a winner.
School is tiny. It's next to a Sedano supermarket. They used to do their graduation celebrations at Hialeah Park back when I was there in the 90s. And yeah, and by the way, they've also got a pretty good basketball program too.
Girls or guys?
Boys.
Oh, I didn't know
Their
that.
boys basketball team won a couple of state titles a couple of years ago.
So how big is it?
It's my goodness, it's the size of almost like an elementary school. There can't be more than 5 or 6 classrooms in that entire school.
Whoever the coaches and the administrators, it's a Catholic school. They do a great job.
Champagnat,
and it makes Hialeah proud because every year they keep plugging away. And I hear they didn't even have a goalpost to practice in when they first started.
I'm going to give you a little trivia, useless trivia that it may come up in jeopardy at some point.
I represent that.
One of their alumni happens to be one other than Alex Pinellas.
Alex went there?
Alex went to Champagnat at some point.
He played football there?
I don't think he played football.
No, okay.
I don't think he played football. He might have maybe played baseball or basketball, but not football, that's for sure. But Alex went to
That's good. That's useless information.
There you go. You never know in a happy hour or a Jeopardy game that might pop up.
I like to bet. Like I'm gonna make a bet. Where do you think Alex went?
Yeah.
What school in high school they're gonna say Hialeah High?
Yeah. Famous alumni, Champagnat, and you got to say
who's the most famous baseball player graduated Hialeah?
Bucky Dent.
No, another one. Was there a big Carlton? No.
There's as recent. There's a couple of guys. I think there's a pitcher for the Washington Nationals who's a Hialeah kid. But when I was a kid growing up, Bucky Dent, Charlie Huff was another famous Hialeah High guy.
There's another one before that, but we'll get it later.
Yeah.
All right, couple weeks after New Year.
What's Bucky Dent famous for?
The park in Broward.
Yeah, but there's also one in Hialeah, but also hit that home run in the extra playoff game against the Red Sox.
All right, so we'll have you come back.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about county issues and how people don't realize there's 13 commissioners. There's a mayor. If you want things done, try to get 7 commissioners to do things, right?
Absolutely.
It's not one person, not one mayor. Please, Maria Hernandez, please consider running for becoming Hialeah's next mayor. That's very nice.
Yeah.
We'll talk about everything. We'll talk about everything because, hey, Miami's the greatest place in the world. I got 31 more years. At 95, I'm out of here. So you got a long time.
Grant, want to thank you for always giving me an opportunity. You and your brothers always opened the space here for me to come and speak. All those that have been listening and watching, hope you have a great Christmas break, holiday. Happy New Year. Let's get 2020 off the books as quickly as possible. And it can only go up from here, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And I agree. In a couple months, almost everybody will have the shots. Whoever wants them.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. So Merry Christmas to everybody. And again, God bless all of you. Appreciate the opportunity.
Have a great day.